Ordinary people.
Good day.
Extraordinary stories.
It was one of the most amazing days of my life.
It just felt like being part of a moment in history.
Bonds forged amid triumphs and tragedies.
She came to help people, so to me she's an angel, she's a great person.
It means an awful lot to me to be able to say thank you to the fireman that saved me.
They shared a past, then faced a future apart.
I just hope I recognise them.
Brought together by fate.
It's going to be very emotional.
Separated by time. Real lives reunited. In today's programme, carnage at the cenotaph.
I just remember those that pulled me from the rubble and their voices and saying, don't worry, we'll get you to hospital soon.
A boy whose face was shattered meets the man who rescued him from the rubble.
For a young lad of 15, hey, that was a mess. And for me to see you today, you're smiling. You're still the same person.
And reuniting the Calypso kings who helped the 60s swing.
The people were in a frenzy.
It was open to all nationality. Everybody was free to come and jump.
Notting Hill Carnival veterans play together once more. Remembrance Sunday, the most poignant date in the calendar. Every year in cities, towns and villages across the UK, people come together to honour all those who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. For the people of Enniskillen in Northern Ireland, Remembrance Sunday 1987 was following the traditional pattern. By mid-morning on November the 8th, they gathered in the town centre as they always did.
People dressed in their good suits, the best, and their ladies all done up. And it's just normal morning in November, waiting for the parade to come.
Stephen Ross was 15. He and a group of friends met at a nearby church.
We were just standing round, sheltering in this building, waiting for the service to start. I still remember feeling cold, even with the jumper, with the westerly wind coming in off the Atlantic. We were used to gathering there every year, so this year was no different.
But this day would be different, very different.
Look at my watch, and literally, no sooner had I looked at my watch that moment, within a couple of seconds, the most horrendous bang.
Complete silence. And then all hell broke loose.
The group behind this devastation, the IRA. The bomb destroyed a wall next to where many of the locals were standing and sent masonry flying around the town square. Tommy joined the desperate effort to help rescue the victims beneath the rubble.
At that stage, we didn't know if there was anybody in the vicinity were throwing this way, just clearing, making a path.
As the rescue effort went on, he found himself standing on top of a large piece of concrete.
We physically lifted the slab. There's this young boy lying underneath it, curled up in a ball.
That boy was Stephen. Despite being knocked unconscious by the blast, he can recall the exact moment he was freed.
I just remember those that pulled me from the rubble and their voices and saying, don't worry, we'll get you to hospital soon.
Stephen's injuries were life-threatening. He was airlifted to a hospital 60 miles away, where he underwent a 5.5-hour operation on his shattered legs and face.
The surgeon drilled holes to put what was a wire cage to hold everything in place, and people will remember that of me being in hospital with my teeth wired so I couldn't eat or drink.
Well, I feel very well. The nurses and doctors have been great to me. I've just a slightly sore in my mouth. I have a fractured pelvis in this leg, and this leg's broken down to the bottom. But it's plastered, and I can feel no pain at all.
Unbelievable. The images of what are portrayed of Stephen and showed what a bomb can actually do to a human being.
The IRA killed 11 people at Enniskillen. 63 more were seriously injured. By the 80s, the country had grown used to terrorist atrocities, but this one caused particular revulsion. Amid the gloom, Stephen's story offered some hope. The support from the public helped speed his recovery.
Absolutely amazing, the number of letters that I got from around the world. And, you know, the friends and relatives of those that have been killed and injured coming to see me in hospital made a big difference.
After 5 weeks of intensive treatment, Stephen was discharged.
Really makes you reflect on what you should be thankful for.
7 years after the attack, Stephen left for a new life in England. He's now married with children of his own, 3 daughters and a son.
My dad, my dad, my dad.
But this happy family life wouldn't have been possible had Tommy Hallowell not pulled him from the rubble on that dreadful November day back in 1987.
I've never met Tommy. I've never spoken to him about the events that day. It would be nice to talk to him about that and understand his memories of the day and to say thank you to him from the bottom of my heart, really.
Today, Stephen's travelling back to Northern Ireland to meet the man who helped save his life. When Tommy last saw him, he was being taken away from the bomb scene in an ambulance.
As soon as I see him, I'll know him. I'll know him.
How are you doing, sir? It's been a long time. Too long.
Long time back.
Lovely to see you.
You're good to see you too.
Yeah, in better shape.
Brilliant.
It's the last time you saw me. It is unbelievable it's taken this length of time to sort of put this together.
I always said there's a guardian angel. He looks after each individual.
Definitely somebody was
Why,
looking
I'll
after
tell
me.
you, two guardian angels, that's it.
Although Stephen's most serious injuries were to his leg, it was the damage to his jaw, nose and cheekbones that became an enduring image of the bombing. The pictures still have the power to shock.
For a young lad of 15, hey, that was a mess. And for me to see you today, you're smiling. You're still the same person.
It is amazing. I think when I also recall how close I was to being crushed to death, it was just complete chaos that day.
Stephen relied on medical staff to help him recover from his physical injuries. But it was another local man who would help him emotionally and spiritually. As Enniskillen grappled with the shock, anger and grief of the bombing, the community turned to a young church minister for help.
I think anybody going into the ministry expected that somewhere along the line they might have to be involved in ministering to people affected by a terrorist incident. But nobody ever expects anything on this scale.
On Remembrance Sunday 1987, the Reverend David Couples was 30 years old. He'd only been a minister in the town for 2 months. Yet that evening, it was he who had to announce the names of the dead.
We've lost Billy and Nessie Mullen, and Kit and Jessie Johnson.
It was an extremely tense and emotional occasion.
We're thankful for those who've been spared. We're thankful for Stephen and Katie Ross.
In the months after the bomb, the minister played a crucial role in helping Stephen come to terms with what happened. Today, he and Tommy are returning to Enniskillen to meet the Reverend.
Any memories?
You know, the memories are important, but I'm able to overcome what happened, and it doesn't haunt me to go past that site at all, Tommy.
I feel the exact same way. We in Enniskillen have nothing to be ashamed of.
It'll be wonderful to meet him today, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with him, just to hear a little bit more about the journey that he's been on, because he's been gone for so many years now. Stephen.
David, lovely to see you.
It's great to see you. Tommy.
And to you too.
Lovely to meet you again.
I've often wondered how you have managed to reflect on what happened.
I too had to deal with anger. I too had to deal with the tendency for bitterness. I think that there was such an abhorrence of what happened on all sides. It motivated people to come together and to say, this is not the kind of society in which we want to live.
The minister's life has remained in Enniskillen, but Stephen has now moved on. Today he's had the chance to thank Reverend Couples and the man who helped save him.
Tommy, thanks very much for today. I really appreciate everything that you've done. And I think just as a matter of appreciation, I've just got a picture here for my 4 kids, and they would not have been here except for you and the reaction of some of the people that helped you that day. So I just hope that's an encouragement to that, you know, that some positive things came out of what happened.
Thank you. The wife and I will cherish that. I give you a hug.
You certainly can. Take care. Hope to see you again soon.
Right. I have been waiting 26 years to meet Stephen.
It was really important for me to thank Tommy for what he did, even years after the event, for everything he did for me on that day.
He was an inspiration, and I mean that from the heart. It was great to see him.
Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny, you smiled at me and really eased the pain. Now the dark days are done and the bright days are here. My sunny one.
In the mid-60s, the social and ethnic mix of the UK was changing fast. West Indians, who'd arrived looking for work in the years after the war, were establishing new communities in the inner cities. As more immigrants came to join them, they weren't always made to feel welcome.
Already their coming has caused a national controversy.
Notting Hill and Ladbroke Grove were neighbourhoods where many put down roots. For residents like Stirling Betancourt, these areas of West London felt like they were surrounded by hostile territory.
You get a taxi and you said you want to go Ladbroke Grove. They said no, they wouldn't go in that area at all. It was terrible.
The objects of the White Defence League are to keep Britain the white man's country that it's always been.
In an effort to reduce racial tensions and promote understanding between communities, local social worker Ronnie Laslett hit on an idea. She organised an open-air street party, celebrating the diversity of cultures in the community.
She wanted to get all the neighborhood children together and the people so that she can bring some harmony into Ladbroke Grove.
To help make the idea a reality, Ronnie Laslett turned to calypso enthusiasts like Sterling and his friend Brian Henderson.
Sterling was always an enthusiastic person, yeah. He said, yeah, let's go, man. He lifted his glasses up.
The first small street party in 1964 was a resounding success. A year later, many more flocked to take part. By 1966, it was an annual event called the Notting Hill Carnival.
Sunshine came softly through my...
West Indian musicians from all over the capital gathered and then began a 1.5-mile procession towards Notting Hill Gate.
The people were in a frenzy. They were just jumping and dancing and singing, don't stop the carnival. And like the Pied Piper, we're going down the road, people coming from church, you can see they're coming with their handbag and they were jumping
It was just amazing, you know, to see all these people admiring the band and the music, you know.
For Trinidadian Cyril Kamai, a London carnival couldn't have come at a better time.
It was open to all nationality. Everybody was free to come and jump.
Ronnie Laslett's vision of a united community was becoming a reality.
Sometimes you think you're back in Trinidad playing because the atmosphere is so alike.
The three men were part of the steel band procession that snaked its way through the streets of West London, captured in archive, filmed on the day. By the time the procession reached Notting Hill Gate, the carnival was about to end.
By 6 o'clock it finished. They didn't have no after that was it. They didn't have no parties or food selling or anything. After that, so we have to wait for another year, for another jump up.
But that wait was worth it, because when the carnival came back, it just got bigger and bigger. It's since expanded into one of the largest street festivals in the world, now attended by over 1 million dedicated partygoers of every nationality. Today, Cyril, Sterling and Brian are meeting again, this time at the Tabernacle, a musical centre which has supported the carnival community in Notting Hill for more than 50 years.
Nice thing we remember is the happy days and the enjoyment we had together. And the band especially, the nice jam we used to have. That brings back the good memories, you know.
Very excited now, and my heart is beating. Yeah.
God, boy,
so nice to see you, boy.
Oh,
Boy.
Despite it being years since they last met, it's clear the bond they shared is still as strong as ever.
You're looking well, man.
You too.
Huh? What is oh yes, I remember this. Look how young and beautiful you're looking there. And my mum make the costume, remember?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Half a century after their first carnival, the memories are still fresh.
Remember the first time when we were going down Lancaster Road playing?
Well, of course.
And the crowd, it's getting bigger and bigger all the time, like the Pied Piper. People looking through the windows and you know, and waving. And
it was really fantastic, man. This is why I feel proud of what we did, you know. Because we lightened up the atmosphere in the grove.
We started something which is very historical, you know.
Exactly,
People would talk about this for years.
The question is, can they spot themselves when they were Calypso kings? Sterling can.
Look, that's me there.
And that's Cyril. But a reunion wouldn't be complete without the boys taking the chance to play together once more. And it's clear the magic is still there.
It was so great to get together with the guys again and relive that first one, you know. So today was a great day. Fantastic.
1, 2, 1.
Soon they're teaching a new generation how to calypso.
Yeah, that's it.
When I saw the footage of the beginning of the Notting Hill Carnival, it just blew my mind away.
So this memory I'll take with me and I'll never forget.
Woo! That was beautiful.
In 1987, the Remembrance Sunday bomb, which exploded in Enniskillen, killed 11 innocent bystanders and injured a further 63.
There'd been no warning, and police said the bomb attack was designed to cause maximum casualties.
Stephen Ross, just 15 at the time, survived life-threatening wounds. Now living in England, Stephen has today travelled back to thank the man who rescued him from the scene and helped save his life.
Long time back.
Lovely to see you.
You're good to see you too.
Yeah.
Stephen managed to move on from the tragedy and rebuild his life, but he knows that others have found it difficult. Today he's planning to meet some of his fellow survivors back home in Enniskillen.
I just hope that in getting together with the folks, it'll be a good opportunity to share that experience and see where they're at now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
On Remembrance Sunday 1987, Serena Doherty was head girl of the local school. She'd been given the task of laying the wreath at the cenotaph as her proud family looked on.
It all happened so quickly. It's split seconds.
18-year-old Stephen Galt was with his father Samuel. They were standing just 10 feet away from the bomb when it exploded.
All I remember then was going forward. And I remember being knocked unconscious and coming around. But the noise, I've never witnessed noise like it. Like people screaming, children crying, women crying, soldiers shouting orders.
Amid the chaos, Stephen witnessed a sight that would stay with him forever.
I looked down and I was buried to the knees, and then I seen my dad lying beside me. But I knew that my dad was dead.
Samuel had only recently retired after a long, distinguished and dangerous career in the Royal Ulster Constabulary.
He had served in the RUC through the worst days and the troubles. And we thought as a family that when Dad hung up his coat, that he was safe to go on with his life. Our family just was devastated after it.
Serena's father, Jim, was also caught up in the blast, captured on amateur video footage.
Hey! Get a load over here and carry them! Pass them over! All the rubble into the building!
After being struck by falling masonry, he was airlifted to hospital, where doctors battled for hours to save his life.
You wouldn't have recognised him. His head was swollen to about 3 times the size. There was tubes and wires coming out of him, and it was just not him. It was just unbelievable. But we were just so thankful that he was alive.
Although Serena's father survived the blast, she's continued to blame herself for his presence at the parade that day.
He was there to see, probably to see me laying the wreath, because it was such a proud moment. I sort of carry a bit of guilt, because it was my fault he was there.
The IRA admitted responsibility for the bombing, which they described as a mistake.
It's been not just the scale of the killing, but the day and the hour the bombers chose that has caused such outrage here. And the IRA now faces the irony of a community of Protestants and Catholics determined to show their unity.
2 weeks later, Enniskillen restaged its Remembrance Day parade. In a moving show of solidarity, thousands of people from all sides of the community took part. Nearly 27 years after being caught up in the tragedy, a group of survivors are reuniting. Survivors with different perspectives and with their own reasons for wanting to talk about what happened.
26 years, I've never spoken to anybody about it. So I just thought maybe I should share my experience, and maybe it'll be good for me, and maybe it can help somebody else.
I think the nerves coming from, the whole thing with the reunion. People that were affected by the Enniskillen bomb in 1987, having not seen them for years. It's going to bring back a lot of memories.
A little bit apprehensive. People have different viewpoints and different experiences. How are you?
Hello.
Good to see you.
And you too.
See you. How are you?
Good to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
How are you? Serena, Stephen.
Also joining the group is Daphne Stevenson, who along with her husband sustained severe injuries in the attack.
After.
Four survivors still trying to deal with one horrific day.
How are you coping, Serena?
I feel like I've guilt, of survivor's guilt. You know, I was there, I wasn't injured, you know, and it really, I think, only for me laying the wreath, my dad mightn't have even been there.
It's only natural, probably, to feel like that, the way you feel. But I wouldn't say it was all your fault.
What I know of you, Serena, you're quite a strong person. You give that appearance, and you might credit me saying that, but I think you've been remarkably resilient, and I think we can't change what's happened in life. Stuff does happen. But how we respond to it is what people remember.
In all the years since the bombing, no one has been convicted. For some, the lack of justice has proved impossible to accept.
They should be brought to stand before courts of the law and get their just rewards for what they did to us and everybody else.
Will we ever get justice? I don't think so. But on there's breath in my body, I will continue the fight to get justice for my father and everybody, and even the injured. No, they deserve justice too.
The bomb that caused so much devastation exploded yards from where the survivors have reunited. Today they head back to the very spot it all happened.
The night before I was dropped off right there.
Is that right? Where they were
we were in Dublin with a cross-community project, and I was dropped off at 11 o'clock, just right there.
And that's when they could have been putting it in?
Could well have been.
I think the night before, though, that somebody came up that road with that bomb in the bag.
Yes.
And put it in there, knowing.
Yes.
Knowing that they're going to do that the next day.
Yeah.
And then life goes on, doesn't it? It's
just thinking that there is
life just goes on.
And you think nothing had ever happened here.
That's exactly right, yeah.
They gathered that cold Sunday morning in 1987 to commemorate those lost in the two world wars. 27 years on, they're doing the same for those they lost in their own town.
Coming back to the site still fills me with dread, and it's still quite eerie. But when the others told me I shouldn't feel guilty, it sort of lifted a burden off me. It made me feel that it was okay, that I shouldn't have to carry that with me.
The day was very special. I have to say I was very apprehensive about the whole thing today. I think it was the fact that we're going back over horrible times at the time of the bomb. But it was great meeting up with Serena, Stephen and Daphne.
It has been a bit of a journey. It's nice to return to the town I was born in, grew up in, experienced that event and look back on it. Look back on it with sadness, but also look back on it from a perspective that I've moved forward in life.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Definitely not 25 years.
Yeah.